All systems check. We are Roger to go.
Hey folks, I'm Norm Morrison. This is the Santa Fe Report, and thank you for being here. It is a beautiful, wet, rainy day in northern New Mexico. Now, it's a little cool out here too. I could actually have a sweater on and be a little bit more comfortable, but I don't have one on obviously, but I do have a cup of coffee, so I'm just going to hold that in my hand to keep my paws warm and periodically take a sip. I hope it's okay with you folks, and if it's not, I'm sorry. But anyway, I had this idea last night about a book I'm thinking about writing, and I'm going to entitle it, I think, The Single Guy's Survival Guide. Now, I've been a single guy for a bunch of years now, and I know that when you get out of a relationship, you don't always have the skills and knowledge that you need to not just survive, but to really thrive. And for you single guys that are just newly single, I want to get you up and running as quickly as possible. I want to get you through the survival mode into the thrival mode. Okay, that's a new word, thrival. I just made that up. But I kind of like it. I'm going to use that more. So it's considered a new word now. So I want to get the single guys up and running as quickly as possible, and in order to do that, I'd like to educate them a little bit on some of the do's and don'ts, the how-tos and what not to do's of being single. You know, it's going to start out in the kitchen because we need to eat. Single guys don't always really know what's required in the kitchen. I mean, when you're in a relationship, you see all this stuff, you don't necessarily know what it's for or how to use it. But there's a few really basic mandatory things, and of course you know that you need some plates and some soup bowls and some silverware, that sort of thing. But there's some really crucial items that you have to have. First of all is a can opener. Okay, you have to have a can opener, and don't get the the chintzy little 99-cent one at the dollar store. You're going to be using it a lot. You know, spend some money on it. Spend $10 if you have to. Get a quality can opener. Now, that leads me to what you need the can opener for, and there's going to be a lot of things. Now, one of your primary survival food items is going to be canned beans. So, if I went into your kitchen, I would want to see at least one whole shelf in your cupboards filled with cans of beans. Okay, so beans, number one. Number two, mac and cheese. The shelf above the beans should be filled with boxes of mac and cheese. And I'm really serious about this, guys. If you don't have those two staples, you're going to starve. Okay, so that's how important they are. Canned beans, mac and cheese. Man cannot live on canned beans and mac and cheese alone. And particularly, because I know you're going to be eating a lot of mac and cheese, you need to get some fiber. You know, you need to get things moving along. So you want to eat, lots of salads. I mean, really a salad every day would be ideal. And buy yourself some good dressing. Okay? Don't get the $1.99 stuff at, wherever. I mean, the stuff tastes like shit. Spend the $4 or $5, $6 and get a bottle of some really good stuff. You're worth it, man. Get some vegetables, get some apples, maybe oranges, nectarines. I love nectarines, strawberries, stuff like that. Get some fruit into your diet. That's really important from a nutrition standpoint, and also, as I say, to keep things moving along. Okay, real important. Okay, now also in the kitchen, because you do have that shelf full of beans, you should probably have one of those little bottles of Beano. Okay, if you have any social life at all, you need Beano. Now, if you don't go out much and you're living by yourself and you're the only one that has to put up with yourself, the Beano's optional, but the consequences are all yours. Now, you want to make your new apartment, your new home feel homey. You need some decorations. You don't go for all the girly little knick-knack stuff. I mean, you know, who cares about that, you know? But check out garage sales. You can often get some really neat stuff. If you could get like an old stuffed buffalo head to mount on your wall, you know, that would be really cool, very manly. I would highly recommend that. You know, a buck, a 12-point buck head on the wall is also pretty cool. You know, you need to get that male energy and dress your place up a little bit. You don't want your place to be too Spartan. You know, make it home. Feels good. We're going to move along to laundry now. Many people ask me about laundry. That's not true. Nobody asks me about laundry. And laundry, generally speaking, is pretty simple. People often wonder about, you know, there's the whites and the color settings and all that kind of stuff. Permanent press. Quite honestly, I don't understand any of it. I just push the colored button, and I just throw everything in together. Don't make it complicated for yourself, guys. You don't need to separate anything out. Okay. Now there is the question of what do you do with your whites? You know, do you really need to separate them out? Well, from my experience, no, you don't. Just throw them all in together. But the thing is, you probably don't have many whites anymore. So the ubiquitous tidy whiteys, they're not tidy whiteys anymore. They're tidy blackies and tidy navies and tidy greenies and whatever. So now I will admit, you know, you're probably going to have a few whites in your laundry, and eventually they're going to get, you know, a little dingy looking. But the solution to that is really quite simple. All you do is every 6 months is burn them. Yeah, burn them. Go get some new ones. You know. How often do you really need to change your sheets? Okay, and this is actually a pretty big question. Not many guys really have a good handle on it. But there are some parameters that you need to go by. Now, first of all, if you have any sort of a social life or hope to have one, buy a spare set of sheets. You know, just go do that. But apart from that, if you don't go out a lot, you don't bring people home, then the parameters change a little bit. Okay, so here's a scenario. It's Wednesday night. You're lying on your bed watching TV with a bucket of the Colonel's chicken, and your fingers get all greasy, and you just wipe them on the sheets. Okay, if you do that, you got to wash them every week. Okay? Now, assuming that you're, you know, kind of a regularly clean guy, you don't eat in bed, that sort of thing, you know, every 2 or 3 months is good. Now, another chapter I'm going to entitle In the Car. Okay? And now, you know, guys, generally speaking, know about cars and, you know how to drive and stuff like that. I'm looking at some of the other things that could really help you survive when you're in the car. Now, there's always the question about the French fries that are, you know, down beside your seat, between your seat and the console. How long is too long to be able to eat them? In other words, how old can they be and still be edible? Actually, the short answer on that is there's no expiration date on them. They dry up. You can eat them anytime you see them. A piece of hamburger, a little different thing, and it also depends where you live. Hamburger does have an expiration date on it. Now, if you live in Phoenix in the summer, you've got a time frame of probably 45 minutes before that piece of hamburger is going to start to go bad. Okay? Gets really hot there, bacteria grow, you know, it's gross. It also depends on the latitude that you're living in and the season. Now, if you're up around the 49th parallel, now if you're up near the 49th parallel, up in Minnesota, North Dakota, Montana, and that area, in the winter, you know, that piece of hamburger, it's just going to freeze. So all you got to do is stick it down in front of your heater for a little while, let it thaw out, and it's completely edible. So in considering other foods than French fries, just consider your latitude and the time of year it is. Okay, folks, well, that's really all I want to share about the book right now. I don't want to give all my secrets away. It's probably going to be a while before you see it on Amazon or, you know, on the shelf in Barnes & Noble. Think about getting a copy for all your single guy friends. So that's it for today, folks. Single guys out there, we're all in this together. I'm pulling for you. This is the Santa Fe Report, and I am Norm Morrison.